Welcome back to the NITE Economics YouTube channel, and today we're going to be looking at the price of gold and is this bull run for gold finished yet? So if you're liking the content, like, subscribe, it's very helpful, and let's get into it. So a couple of weeks ago I released a video called Gold Isn't Finished Yet. I think that's what it was called. I'll see if I link it in the subscription. I haven't actually done that yet on YouTube yet, but I'm sure there's a way to do it. Anyways, so if you guys remember, or if you watched this video, I pulled up this specific chart where I'm showing exactly that silver plays out this very typical pattern. It happens quite well. Silver and gold play out this pattern where silver will make a high, and then it'll go on to create a lower high while gold will create a higher high. So it'll continue running up for some time before capitulating and essentially going into a bear market and then resetting for the next bull run, which I do think is going to take several years for this to play out. So let me switch over. So this is the gold chart, and this white line here, silver line, is the price of silver overlaid on top of the gold price. But let's go over to the silver chart because I have it, so it's the opposite, right? So let's take a look. So all of these green bubbles is every time this has played out. I might have missed a couple, but you'll get the idea that this is very common. So the first time this happened, just to be clear, this is a weekly chart because it's more visible. It's easier to visualize on a weekly chart than it would be on a monthly or on a monthly chart. So the gold line is the price of gold, and then the candles are the silver price. So the last time this played out, as you could see here, was in the last bull run. So this was in April 2011, where silver made a high in April and gold did not quite make its high yet. It kind of chopped around a little bit, and then it continued to make its all-time high later in that same year, and that was August 2011. So that took about 126 bars for that to play out. From when silver made its high to when gold made its high, it took 126 bars. The next time this played out was over here, or before the next time, but the previous time this played out before this last time I spoke, before 2011, was here in the mid to late 90s, mid 90s, let's call it, right, where you could see that silver tops over here. I should move. Can I move this one? Anyways, silver tops over here. As you could see, it made a high here. This is in the way. Let me see if I can move this. Well, I guess it's not so important to where I place that one. Anyways, so you could see the silver made its high over here, and gold just continues to chop around until it makes its all-time high. No, like, I'm not too sure if that was an all-time high. It might have not been an all-time high, but it makes a high relative to silver, and then it capitulates. Where silver capitulated sooner, but then if you actually, I just noticed that here, silver actually had another rally here, where gold did not. So that's very interesting. So that's something a little bit different here. Right, yeah, I just noticed that right now, so that's very interesting. But like I said, this pattern is very common. You can see silver makes a high, then gold goes on to make another high. Mind you, this was not like the very top of the cycle, by the way. This was during a bear market overall, like a general bear market in precious metals. So this is interesting to see here. But anyways, from this high here to from silver's high to gold's high, it took 273 days. And previous to that, we have this one over here, and this was also during a bear market, mind you. So you see silver makes a high here in April 87, and then gold makes a higher high relative to silver, while silver starts going into a downtrend here in December 87. So that took about 224 days. And it doesn't always play out. So here's an example. And this was during the all-time high here of like the late 80s, where both gold and silver pretty much topped at the exact same time, and they created pretty much the exact same pattern. You could see here a high, and then a low, and then here essentially a lower high, both by gold and silver, and then they capitulated together, or they broke down together. here's an example. So this is leading into this bull run. So this is like this. So this was like a massive 10-year bull run in the. I guess it was from the late 70s or early 70s all the way to the 80s. It was when it played out. It's not I guess that's exactly when it played out. Pretty much started over here, and it ended over here, right? So it was about 10 years. They might have been 11 years. So you could see here, silver tops right here. I didn't put the timeline on it, but I will in a sec. Silver tops right here in February 74, and it starts to create all these lower highs. So it's already telling you it's in a downtrend. Well, I mean, it's a relative downtrend, because then gold creates this higher high, so this all-time high over here, and that was in 74, I believe, and that took approximately, let's see, 301 days. And here, so the red ones are when it didn't happen. So you could see that here, did it not happen here? Maybe it did happen. Yeah, so you could see gold made a high here, and it came down but silver made another high later on. So this one, it didn't play out. It was the opposite. So this pattern doesn't always necessarily happen. My base case is is essentially two things. Is either this pattern right here where silver makes a high, then gold goes on to make a higher high or a new all-time high later on in the year. That's either playing out, or what is playing out is we're going into this kind of consolidation phase for a couple of years, and then silver and gold together are going to continue into the end of the decade, creating a much higher highs or new all-time highs for both of these precious metals going into the end of this decade. So we still have another 4 years to go. That's my base case. With that being said, this pattern can still play out, because you could see it sometimes. It even plays out during bear markets, right? So we have 301 days for this first one, 224 days, 273 days, and the most recent one was the last short is 126 days. I'm not gonna, I didn't calculate this ahead of time, but let's just round to like around 200 days more or less if this were to play out. And right now, to me, it seems like it's kind of playing out kind of quickly compared to other times, but let's see where we're at. So silver's high is right here. This is the silver chart. So let's call it, so based off previous history, we could expect a lower high in silver somewhere between, I don't know, as early as May, sometime in May, and as late as, let's call it 300 days, as late as November of this year, or create a lower high, or silver or gold will make a high during that period. That's another way of looking at it. Goldie will make a high somewhere between May and November of this year, a new all-time high, if this pattern is to play out. Now, mind you, this is like a very, very large time span. So we have somewhere May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So we have 7 months where this can play out. And don't be surprised about this. Like, precious metals and these things are relatively slow moving. Especially if you're coming from like the crypto world, the Bitcoin world, things don't move as fast in precious metals. But when they do, they can also have this very toppy behavior like silver had over here, where it was just making ridiculous all-time highs. I also have a base case that I think silver will eventually start to struggle around this $100 mark. It's very close there. It's very close to it. It's just a couple, and I've said this before, and it didn't. I was wrong previously, especially when silver was starting to go to this all-time high and actually smashed through it, but it came down significantly, and we will see if that $100 mark is going to be a resistance level for silver. I am of the case of the thinking that this is going to be a lower high for silver, and it's being made right now. That's what I think, but I do think it'll be a consolidation for several years to come before breaking out to all-time highs, both silver and gold. But again, I repeat, I think gold is making its all-time high. It's not done yet. I think this move is continuing by gold, and we will see if this plays out in the next month, in the next couple of months this year. So again, if you're liking the content, like, subscribe, drop a comment if you're inclined to do so, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.